3, 2, 1.
I'm Todd Sylvester.
And I'm Stephen Sylvester. Have you ever had the giant Reese's before?
Like when you say giant, how big?
The ones that you would get from a convenience store,
Right.
So not
circular one.
right. And there's also the mini Reese's,
Right.
right?
Uh-huh.
Do you notice a difference in taste?
Sometimes, because sometimes the ratio of chocolate to peanut butter is a little off.
I had an opportunity to have them both back to back, and I was like, oh my gosh.
Which one did you like more?
The ones that are bigger are 100 times better.
Agreed.
They're so much. I don't know what's going on with the way that the other ones are made.
Because when you said giant, I thought you meant like the one that comes out
No.
periodically.
I've seen those before.
Because Mom got those for us for Christmas. Each of us got one.
Mm-hmm.
And we went to town on them.
I remember that, although I don't remember it being any different other than the regular,
Well, the different part is you don't feel as guilty that you're eating basically a half pound of Reese's because you're like, it's just one cup.
It's just one, guys.
It's just one cup.
It's only one. I just had one Reese's cup.
What's the problem?
I don't see a problem.
It's 2021.
Yeah.
And technology is gotten out of hand.
Yes.
It's going so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And now we have all these billionaires going off into space.
Yeah.
And who knows when they're going to be living on Mars or what have you.
It's coming. I don't know how soon, but all that stuff is definitely coming.
They're going to buy a planet. That's why they want to go to space, because they can buy a planet.
Right. It's like they've run out of normal things to do with their money, so what else can we do?
When I was a kid, there was a lot of cool little sci-fi cartoons, the Jetsons, things like that, where it would make us want tech gadgets. And now a lot of those tech gadgets have come to fruition.
Mm-hmm.
They really do exist.
Yeah.
So if you could have one tech thing that you would absolutely love to have, and I guess we could just say whatever it costs.
Yeah, I had some thoughts about that. So I'm all about. Do you remember when the Apple Watch first came out?
Yes.
And how that revolutionized, kind of the same way that the iPhone did for smartphones. It revolutionized wearable tech, quote unquote.
Yes.
And I remember when it first came out thinking like, oh, come on, that's a gimmick. That'll never last, blah, blah, blah. And
like
then,
the one that's on my wrist, that one?
Yes, but this is several years ago when it first came out. First generation Apple Watch, I was like, there's no way. It's too soon. It can't do all the things that we were imagining from the Jetsons that it can do. And then a few generations in, I think it was with generation 6, so the most recent one.
Right.
It can actually tell you if you're having a heart attack.
Yeah, the EKG thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that blew my mind to a degree where I was like, hold on a second. So if that keeps progressing, and if there are more medical things, if you get more medical information from each generation of this Apple Watch or any wearable smartwatch, I guess, then we'll get to a point where you can have a wearable device, and it might get so small that you can even hide it somewhere, that will tell you about all the medical stuff that's going on with your body. So think about this. How many people, and there's probably, but we're getting to the point where we're going to have self-driving cars very soon as well, too. But so that's another major thing that kills people. But think about how many people don't even think about the fact that they should go get a cancer screening, or don't even think about the fact that they might have diabetes, or don't even think about the fact that whatever else is killing lots of people.
Yeah, but
what if your watch is telling you, hey,
but you're skipping ahead because you know that it will exist, but it doesn't exist yet.
Right. So
I'm talking about today.
Today, the newest Apple Watch that tells you if you're having a heart attack. That's what you want. Blows my mind. Well, I don't know if I necessarily want it.
Well, this is what we're saying. We're asking the question in the podcast.
Well, okay. I don't want to buy it. If somebody bought it for me, then I would wear it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that's what we're talking about.
Yeah. So
barring
the
cost.
Then yes.
Because my thing costs way more than your watch.
Seriously?
Yes.
Oh.
Because I want a self-driving car.
Oh, hey, there you go.
And I want the full package, Tesla, whatever. Because
the one that can go insanely fast?
Oh, I'm not concerned about that.
Okay.
Like Ford and Lyft just are about to launch their self-driving cars to ferry people around, to taxi people around in Miami.
Okay.
In like 2 or 3 months. That's happening.
Wow.
From today.
That's cool.
Which means that that self-driving car, they're so confident in it that they are putting people in it who could sue them like crazy.
That's
so they
very
have
cool.
to be very confident in that car.
Mm-hmm.
And just the other day, I saw a news story where a guy had the self-driving Tesla, and he fell asleep, so the car pulled over and stopped. Because it was asking him,
it
are you?
detected.
It detected somehow. I guess
Yeah.
maybe it was asking for a response, didn't get a response. So the guy woke up and he was like, "What? I'm going to be late." And he was like yelling at his car.
Mm-hmm. It's like that's not something from the future, you know?
Well, right. So I want the self-driving car
Mm-hmm.
because I just would love to be able to multitask. I'd love to be able to get in the car and be able to read.
Wouldn't that be great? Can you imagine
Yes.
for anybody that lives in a big city? I know that this has always been a pipe dream thing, but now I'm really thinking about it because I've never lived in a big city. I mean, I lived in St. Paul for a little while, but I wasn't commuting all the time. I
Mhm.
walked most places or rode my bike back when I had a bike. And I can remember thinking that, okay, if you have an hour or more to get into the city and then to leave the city, can you imagine all the extra stuff that you would have time for if you didn't have to think about driving
Right.
for those 2 hours? You
Yeah.
would get 2 hours of your life back
Because
every day.
audiobooks is not my thing. Like
Mhm.
I've tried audiobooks a couple times
Yeah.
and I've gone on some really long car rides.
My kids like them. I'm not a fan either.
Yeah, I like to be able to read, so that's one thing that I'd like to be able to do. I'm hoping that people do utilize that time
Mm-hmm.
because from what I've seen, like I saw a Tesla drive past me one time when I was walking, and it was only going about 25 miles an hour, and I
Yeah.
looked, and it looked like a mom and a daughter that were in the front seats, and they were absolutely staring at their phones the entire time. I saw them
Mhm.
coming down the road because I'm always noticing the Tesla car because I like it. I'm like,
Yeah,
oh,
they're
that's
cool. I
that's-
noticed them too.
Yeah, it's like that's cool. And
My
then-
wife is sick of me noticing them.
but I started laughing because I'm like, they are just staring at their phones. Now, I don't know if they were doing anything productive on their phones, maybe.
Who knows?
But
the cool thing is,
I hope that people are utilizing the time a little bit more because
Yeah.
that's what I would want to do. I
Yeah.
would definitely have a little library
Yeah.
in my car, and I would just be reading all the
so
time.
the full self-driving thing is around the corner, but it's not quite here yet. And the type of Apple Watch that I would want, specifically from that perspective of wanting it to be able to do medical things,
Mhm.
that's not quite here yet,
Right.
is one that would actually be taking readings of what's going on in your blood all the time.
So blood sugar for diabetics.
That and also, I mean, there's a lot of, if I'll give you
blood
an
oxygen.
I'll give you a,
Wait, I think it does that already, doesn't it?
it does, but it doesn't really go in depth yet.
Okay.
But as those sensors get more sophisticated, let's say, if Afton had one of those, then she would have known a year before she got diagnosed that she had leukemia.
Oh, wow.
She would have known a year before she got diagnosed.
That would be so wild how trippy that would be if
Mhm.
your watch told you your white blood
And
cell count.
not only that, but think about the main reason that most people go to the doctor. It's just to do what?
To get tests?
Yeah, just to run tests
Yeah.
or to check on how you're doing. And if your watch is doing it for you, then in this age of telehealth, which COVID has now sped up, then you can just set it so that it sends the data to your GP.
I was kind of fascinated the last time I went to the doctor, and they said, yeah, because every year or every 6 months or whatever, they have you do blood tests. No, I think it's every year. And he goes, yeah, let me send you back to the lab,
Mhm.
and we're going to do this, 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 and this, and this. And he just hands me a piece of paper. And I go back to the lab, and the woman takes it and scans it,
Mhm.
and she takes the vial of blood and then puts it into a machine in that room. And it wasn't a very big machine. It looked like basically the size of a large copy machine.
I've seen them
And
too.
that was the lab.
Yep.
That was the entirety of the lab
So imagine that, but-
on your watch.
and it's connected to the cloud. Now, people are probably going to be like, oh, privacy. But it's like, all right, well, if you're signing something that says I'm cool with my doctor knowing how I'm doing all the time, do you know how many lives that would save?
Yeah, it would be.
Golly.
Okay, I got to admit, that one's pretty awesome.
Self-driving cars, I'm with you. I'm really pumped for that. But I want to see people knowing that they have a serious medical issue way before they would normally.
Okay. So while we're on this with the Tesla, the semi truck,
Mm-hmm.
I also want them to build buses.
Yes.
Coach buses.
Agreed, 100%.
Because I drive a coach bus for our church, and there's a lot. I was driving home recently from a trip, and I was praying the whole time because I know that there's 1,000 things that can go wrong.
Right.
1,000. And if you had a self-driving car, you'd bring it way down to about 100.
That's right. And you're just reducing the possibility of things that can go wrong, reducing the
Or
risk.
I should say an electric vehicle. An electric vehicle, you're removing
An EV bus.
no oil, no coolant, no steering fluid,
You're
no
preaching to the choir.
transmission fluid,
I'm
no
all
belts.
about it.
Oh my Lord. That'd be awesome.
Have you seen how those things accelerate too?
I'd see, but I'm not as concerned about that.
No, but not even from the standpoint of it being cool because it can go fast. I just mean from efficiency.
Right. And I guess for merging, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But then to be able to set the speed, like I think I have on there cruise control, but I've never used it. But if it was all electronic with the screen, and I could just say, hey, bus, go 72 miles an hour.
Right. It's amazing.
Although I probably should just say 70 because that's the speed limit, right? I should probably just say
I don't know.
I don't know.
Who knows?
In the comments, let us know what tech device you would like to have. And thanks so much for listening to Familias.
We sincerely appreciate y'all.